Hey, how about that Metal Gear Solid PC version?
Sure. Yeah.
I've been playing. Tals, you've been playing.
I'm playing
Vince,
a lot.
Vince, have you been playing on PC?
I haven't been. I mean, I've played a few hours on PC. I haven't put in tons of time. I've been mostly playing on the PS4 version, which I have like maybe 130 hours or so on it now at this point.
But the real question is how good of a PC port is this?
So it's funny because you and I discussed this a little bit this morning, and it really depends on the angle from which you come at it from. Like, I don't want to alarm anyone. I am on the Overclocked podcast here. I have certainly played PC games for about 15, 20 years, but I was a console gamer first, so that's still usually kind of the perspective that I come from these multi-platform games on. And certainly I think it's not a stretch to say that Metal Gear is kind of like at home on consoles. So for me, when I'm looking at a PC port of a console game, all I'm looking for is does my controller does a controller work properly, and you know how
literally
well,
a
literally
controller,
a gamepad, right?
You're saying
right. A controller, right. And then also, you know, how well optimized is it? Like, if I have a PC from 3 years ago or something, am I going to be able to have a positive experience? And from both of those angles, the PC version of Metal Gear Solid 5 seems terrific. But, you know, I know you come at it from a bit of a different. You're looking for other things, but I mean, as far as like, if you're worried, hey, you know, I don't have a current gen console, and my PC is a little bit, you know, kind of behind the times. The game is optimized quite well, and I've heard people talk about having maybe like 2-year-old rigs that they can still run it at appreciable settings and close
easily.
to 60 frames per second. You know,
But like Skyrim, the one thing I wish they would improve is have better UI on the PC.
Yeah, so
they needed MGS UI. Now, unlike you, unless it's like something that's super actiony, and not even, you know, I play with mouse and keyboard on my PC games for the most part. Except for like a flight sim or something like that, right? Where I want to stick. So MGS, I'm playing with mouse and keyboard, and I'll tell you what, when I go into those consoles to get to the UI console to make selections, having to use the 1 and the 3 to go through there, and not being able to use my mouse wheel to scroll through the menus, oh my god, it just drives me crazy.
It seems so
silly. For me,
drives me crazy.
Yeah, I look at ports from two different angles. You've got the technical quality, like does it run well, does it crash or not, is it stable, and does it look good, and then you've got, does it feel like a PC game? And Metal Gear nails one of those.
Yeah.
It looks really good. It
plays
runs really well.
yeah.
It's stable.
I'm enjoying it on PC.
Oh, yeah.
But anytime I have to go into a menu, I'm just like, why?
It does not feel like a made-for-PC game, which is obviously it wasn't exclusively made for a PC game as a PC game, but
they should have kept those poor programmers off of their vacation even more to get the PC version really done in the menu system.
But it's like the thing is that when you look at the menu system, what's weird about it is that the UI itself is not ideal for PC, but it's not terrible as long as I can mouse through it.
It's terrible.
You can't mouse through it. That's the problem.
No, I'm saying that's what I mean. Like the way the UI is laid out, like the tabs, like that tab system is pretty common even in PC games.
The mouse does not appear.
But the fact that the mouse, exactly, that's the thing. The fact that it has no mouse support for those menus is really what the problem is.
Yeah, the layout of the menus is fine.
Right, that's what I mean.
It's just the
okay.
the functionality of the menus is the issue, right?
Right.
Not being able to pick things with my mouse and having to go through with having to take my hand off of the WASD and actually move it up here to 1 and 3 is not good.
Yeah, it definitely feels like they intend for you to use a controller for this game, which, okay, but it's a game where I spend most of my time shooting.
I want to have sensitivity, right? I want a precise aim.
I definitely want to use a mouse in any game where I'm shooting. Like, and in general, as a PC gamer, like, I want to use a mouse and keyboard whenever I possibly can. So
me too.
It's like if I'm playing a game where I'm driving a lot, then I'll want an analog stick. If I'm playing
God, I still played a lot of racing games in the 90s with the keyboard disc.
Me too.
It's horrible. I agree.
But if you're playing like a flight sim, you want a stick, ideally. And again, I've played a lot of those with the mouse and keyboard as well. But like for a game like this, a mouse and keyboard is perfectly well suited if they would facilitate it.
Yeah.
And they didn't really do a great job of that.
I just want my mouse wheel in the menus. That's all I want. It's the mouse wheel. I want to be able to look through things.
And again, it's totally tolerable. It's worth putting up with for a game like this, which is an outstanding game. It's disappointing that they didn't put in that basic level of mouse support.
It seems like how
menus.
much work could that have possibly been?
Yeah.
Like I can't even think about how hard is it really to create a cursor?
Because it means in the menu I either have to move this hand around or I have to move my mouse hand off of something, right? Whenever I'm in there, and I want to be locked in when I'm kind of controlling,
Yeah,
Sure.
and it's disappointing, and again, it totally worth playing. And I'm not gonna tell anybody don't play Metal Gear Solid because of this. But this is the kind of Bush League approach that you see from like Codemasters racing games.
Right. Yeah. It's
wow, you got Bush League by Dan.
it's totally a matter of like not understanding like what the people native to that platform want, and like I think it's
That's
a perfect...
so weird to me though, because Metal Gear's always been on PC. Like Metal Gear has always been on PC.
Oh sure, yeah, it's always been ported. It's always been ported over.
I played
yeah.
Metal Gear 2 on PC.
Yeah,
I mean,
3 and 4 were not.
Yeah, 3 and 4 weren't. Okay, 2 was the last one I played, and that was on PC. So
Yeah, and it came out much because it's
it
significantly
did come out later. Yeah, it did come out later.
Yeah.
But I know. I mean, 1 and 2 were definitely on PC. So it's a series that have.
Oh, another UI complaint I want to raise. Every time I start up, I have to click through like literally 6 or 7 pop-ups about like
that's a problem.
apologizing for the server status.
Yeah.
That's a problem for us on the console
Right.
as well. I'm just waiting for them to do something about that. I mean, I don't understand. Like, did they just not, like, who didn't think that, like, just keep the most current one? Like, I literally, here I am playing the game 2 weeks later, and I'm still seeing like notices, important notice with red all around it from like a week and a half ago. And
Yeah.
I'm like,
And what's even dumber about that is that they put it before like all the loading screens, like all the NVIDIA stuff, all the logos. So you have to like you can't start it up, walk away, and then come back and click through it, and then you're just there. You've got to start it up, click through it, then go get a drink while you wait for all the NVIDIA way it's meant to be played, and like just stop.
That said, I agree. Annoyances with that, still a great game. I'm really having a good time with it.
If it weren't a great game, I wouldn't put up with that at
Yeah.
all. but yeah, I've put in a bunch of time with it already. I'm not anywhere near done. I think I'm still at like maybe 10% completion, maybe.
I'm about there too. I think I'm on mission like 10 or 11.
Oh, you got plenty to go.
Yeah, it takes a long time to get through this game, and partially due to the fact that it's really good at like distracting you and making you want to like replay the same mission over and over again just to try some different stuff.
And also, I'll just run around in the world and kind of just do nothing except for just explore and.
Yeah, whenever I finish a mission, I'm always like, well, there's an outpost.
Blue sheep.
There's an outpost right over there. I'm like, maybe there's a good soldier there. Maybe there's some resources there. Maybe I'll find a blueprint there. It's not a super dense open world or anything like that, but there's everything that you
back
can
in
go
the
and
day,
do.
Vince. Oh no, wait, can't use that excuse for there. Well, in Afghanistan, it was,
On the topic of those annoying pop-ups, I am told that if you just turn off online mode at all, like completely, that those do go away.
I should do that then, because I'm not even doing anything with the online mode
yet. And half the time, like,
and you're not going to be able to do anything with it for quite a long time.
Right? Until October, right? At least.
What's that?
Until October?
Oh no!
Is that
It's the online elements are so October. What you're thinking of is Metal Gear Online 3 comes out in October, and that's the online component.
Although on PC, I think it's actually going to be 2016. I don't think.
Oh, okay. All right, good to note. But there are online components. There is an online component, an awesome and quite full-featured online component for Metal Gear Solid 5, except it doesn't unlock until about, I would say, 75% of the way through the story, which...
And even then, the servers are down, so...
The forward operating base.
The servers are fine now.
Well, they aren't really, because I
keep having the message at least, yeah.
Yeah, I have the message, but I also get... periodically just says, oh yeah, you've been kicked off the servers.
Yeah, so the one thing I have seen is that if I stay idle for a really like if I leave my PlayStation just sitting there for a while, and I'm like, oh, I've got some I'm like letting some research project go.
Yep.
You know what I mean? And I'm like, okay, it's like it's 36 minutes till this research is done. I'm going to go and and do whatever and just let it run. And sometimes, I have seen it disconnect there, but it's funny. The first couple of days,
that is. I wish your research projects continued to go when you were off as well.
Yeah. That would be nice. It's fortunate, at least, that none of them are like super long. The more advanced ones towards the end of the game are like 2 hours.
Yeah,
but those are
the
like
longest ones I had about an hour and 15, maybe an hour and 20 so far.
Yeah, but no, but the thing that as far as the servers go, it's strange because a lot of people early on I had problems.
It definitely does.
Since then I haven't had any issues. Like
it definitely, but it does boot you off for inactivity, which
it does.
Which happens to me a lot because when you have a newborn, you tend to be called away from your game every so often.
Yep.
So I'll pause it and come back to a message saying you've been kicked off the server.
Right.
Which again, I guess doesn't matter because I'm not at the point where I even need to be on the server.
You ever thought of maybe just getting a baby-sized Fulton and just having your baby floating next to you while you're playing? The baby will probably like that too.
Yep. But I am grateful that this game does allow you to pause. That's nice.
Yeah, yeah. Unlike probably the last game, the last console game ported over that you played.
But let me tell you the
I have to say though, not being somebody who played a lot of Metal Gear 2, 3 and 4 were just so I couldn't get into them because the cutscenes were so long. I just want to play a game. When I get into a game, I want to play it. So at least after the 45 hour-long prologue where I was a lot of crawling, I was very happy that I'm actually really playing a lot of Metal Gear instead of watching Metal Gear.
That's one of the reasons why I gave it a 10 because it's a player's game.
Let me tell you though that the my Steam account, like the counter that says how many hours I put in, is vastly inflated because of that same reason.
Oh right.
It's like I'll start playing, get in like 15, 20 minutes, and then have to pause and walk away, and I'm like, oh, I'll be back in a few minutes and start playing again. A few hours later, I come back, and meanwhile, the Steam counter is still going up.
Dan, you spent 300 hours playing Metal Gear, and you're only on mission 3.
Yeah,
what's going on?
Yep, that's pretty much the situation. I think I have left it running overnight at least once, but so I have no idea how long I've actually put in. I really wish that Steam would tweak that. Yeah, so it's like, if it would know when you're not in a pause screen and know when you're not alt tabbed. If it weren't just looking at how long the process has been running, because I actually really like knowing how long I've played a game.
Oh yeah, and from a reviewer standpoint, like it's actually quite useful.
Absolutely.
It's nice to not have to like keep a log, or anything like that to know how long I've been playing something because it's not a big deal, but in almost every review, we want to give people a general sense of how long it took us to get through, so that they have an idea of like what kind of not that value is all about time to dollar, but people do care about that information, and it just makes it easier for us to get an accurate sense if that's something that's in there.
Yeah. Especially if you can talk about how long the actual storyline, quest line, or everything with the side quests and things like that. It's valuable information.
Yeah. But in any case, I guess the consensus is that Metal Gear Solid is a good PC port, not a great one, but certainly better than Batman Arkham Knight.
Oh yeah, that's for sure.
Well, I mean, hey, I would say the only issue really with the port is the way the menu system works and the UI system works for the most part. Again, there's some minor annoyances getting into it, and I agree with that too, with the menu system having to click a lot just to finally get to the title screen. But the game itself is really, really good. Have a lot of fun with it.
And also, I just want to point out too, because we discussed this a little bit, and that the UI problems really do go away if you play with if you're playing with a gamepad, and certainly understand that
Don't insult me, Vince.
What's that? Well, no,
I'm just kidding.
I know longtime PC players are they always want to play on their on mouse and keyboard. But that said, like if you are someone who can play both and feel comfortable on both, the skill ceiling that exists in Metal Gear is not such where you're like, hey, it's got to be headshots all the time. You got to be like, this is not Counter-Strike. Like if you're more comfortable playing that way, that's awesome. And certainly if you're proficient, you'll have a bit of an edge over everyone else. But if you're nervous that you will not physically be able to play the game with the level of precision that the game itself asks of you with a gamepad, that's not the case.
Do you want to be a badass super secret agent, Vince, or do you want to be like shooting people? Bah, 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 bah?
Well, I was a super badass secret agent, and I was playing on a stick, although on analog sticks. But yeah, would you be that much more badass if you were proficient with mouse and keyboard? Absolutely not saying that's not the case. But if anyone is out there thinking to themselves, oh, but without a mouse and keyboard, there's no way I'll be able to play the game at the level of proficiency that the game requires me to.
No,
that's not the case.
No, I didn't get a sense of that. But whenever I play PC games, the first thing I do was I like a really highly sensitive mouse, so I put my mouse sensitivity all the way up because I like to be able to just do that, to be able to like turn as far as possible, you know?
But
it's just the kind of gaming I prefer,
Sure.